And so now he's boiling.
And I was like, well, if I was a loofah, I would have tons of eyes because I'm made up of holes.
Oh my God, my finger's missing. So lucky you just lost a finger because that guy lost an arm.
It could change the world.
I'm legal. Hey you guys, welcome back to Coffee Over Apples. My name is Steph. This is a vlog for the Three Body Problem, which is the sci-fi book club pick for January, and I need to vlog this because there's a lot of stuff happening and I don't know what to think about it. It is a little bit hard to keep track of, so I'm hoping to use this vlog in order to actually form a review and kind of like remember what the heck is going on. I know that this is a really popular series. It's coming to Netflix. I'm probably like 50 something or 60 something pages in, and I'm really intrigued. It feels like I'm watching a telenovela because we have these characters that are really extreme in the things that they say and popping out of nowhere, making sly comments and kind of like slinking away, very dramatic. But overall, I find it super interesting. So while we have that weird dynamics between characters going on, it's like something has happened that has pushed all of the physicists who are part of this top secret government science experiment that's going on to want to unalive themselves. So trigger warning for that, because that is the biggest thing that's happened in this book so far. But our main, I guess, protagonist, Professor Wang, knew someone who was on the team and then is hired or brought on to do this, but like he kind of does it more out of spite than anything else because he's being antagonized by one of the police officers that's running the council for this mission. But so anyway, he does this, and on the side he's a photographer. So he notices one day, shortly after accepting the job, that he is developing his film, and there's numbers on the bottom, and every picture he takes, the numbers are appearing, but he's like, where are these numbers coming from? There's no filter or anything present here. And then he asks his wife to take some pictures for him. He develops those pictures and there's no numbers. He asks his son to take some pictures on like a DSLR camera and there's no numbers. But when he does it on every camera, there are numbers, and these numbers are coinciding, like counting down to something happening in the next 50 days, and it seems like it only has to do with him. He doesn't understand why. He's not sure, like, am I gonna die? What's going on? I don't know. So it's super, super interesting. There's another main character girl whose father was killed because they claimed that he was pushing Western science and ideologies during the Chinese Cultural Revolution, and I don't know if I necessarily understand that part of the story, but she is here and there's something going on with her and people are trying to get her to sign something. I don't know why. So that part I definitely need to like do a ton of research on my own because I don't really know too much about the Chinese Cultural Revolution and how that happened. Don't know what the mystery is yet, but it's interesting, and I feel like I'm watching or reading a telenovela, so there's that. Like, what the actual fuck is going on? What is this? I'm so confused. What? Okay, I've got 2 days to finish this before the live show, and that was not intended. Literally, just every day when I get home from work, I'm so exhausted. I literally pick it up and it falls on my face and I fall asleep. I feel like a crotchety old man, all right? But listen, I can't tell you why things are happening. I can just tell you what is happening, all right? main character, Wang, puts on this VR headset to see what one of his, like, colleagues is playing this game for, because it's weird that she's playing video games or something, because that's, like, not her thing. So he's like, something is up. Aside from that, there's other reasons why he's thinking that she's totally sus. But he puts on this game. It's called 3body.net, I think it was. And he ends up in this plane, and it's nighttime, and it's cold, and then he meets different tyrants and kings from throughout Chinese history. We get a little bit of information about them in the footnotes from the translator, but they're like thousands of years ago, people that existed in different dynasties. And in this place, the sun is huge in the sky, but it doesn't come up at regular intervals, and that's the problem. So these two kings and previous people in history that he's following are trying to keep a record of figuring out what the pattern is for the solar cycles. And so when the sun does come up, it's scorching hot, and then it stays up in the sky for a long time, and the land isn't hospitable, and then it disappears for a long time. So it could be like up for 3 days, gone for a week, up for 3 weeks, down for a day. Like, they can't figure out a pattern, but whatever. So eventually they make their way to this pyramid thing after I don't know how many weeks of doing this. And in the game, it's like, it's game time. So in real life, it's not been weeks to months, and it's in game time weeks to months, because they're like fast forward. Think of like pressing the fast forward on the Sims button, right? And it's like, so they get there, and there's a king, and the king is like insulated in this palace that protects him from the weather, and he's the only one there because all the people have been dehydrated into husks, and they're just waiting for the king to give the signal that we're going to be in a time period where the sun is going to regularly rise and set, so that the temperature can be consistent and people can grow and prosper and stuff. So people are skins rolled up in storage right now. So then the one king guy who was questing goes, I figured out the cycles, I'm going to draw you a calendar. So he draws this calendar thing, and then he does this thing, and he predicts that this is what's going to happen for the next couple cycles, and then we're going to have a long period of prosperity. So to test him, they wait, and sure enough, his predictions come through for like the sun staying for a couple days and disappearing for this long, coming back, and blah, 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 right? So they were like, okay, great. It's now the eve of the time of prosperity. And he like says in a hyphenated mid-tone kind of way the word rehydrate. And then all of a sudden they start taking the body husks and throwing them into like a river or a lake nearby. And the people start like coming to life and popping up like a gummy bear. When you put a gummy bear into a vat of like water and salt and leave it overnight and come back and it's rehydrated and it's like huge. This is basically the people. And this one guy wakes up and he goes, oh my God, my finger's missing. And everyone's like, dude, that's what happens when you have a storage unit and it gets dusty and old and it's been decades. Like, the rats eat at your shit. So lucky you just lost a finger because that guy lost an arm. And it's like, okay, sure. And then right before all this happened, the most random ass throwaway line, just like, for what? For why? The shaman who, I don't know if he made a bad prediction or what happened, but basically there was a pot boiling in the corner of the castle, and he was like, yeet, and just jumped into it.
Not quite peas, not quite beans, but something special in between.
And so now he's boiling. Don't know why. And so basically, like, they do this and they're having a huge rehydration party, but then things go bad because the prediction is wrong, even though every other prediction he made up until this point was right. Because after like 8 days, the sun disappears and it doesn't come back. And so everyone's freezing and dying, and basically the atmosphere is freezing. So like oxygen and nitrogen are freezing and the atmosphere is dissipating. And everyone's like, well, time to dehydrate. He says it just like that. And then people can't dehydrate fast enough before they like start to die. So other people die in the field because their husks couldn't be dehydrated. So their husks freeze, their bodies freeze. But then eventually things get so bad that no one's ever going to wake up again because the planet is dead. So, like, the original king who made the premonition is like, well, I guess I'm going to yeet myself into a pot too. And that's the end of the game. So apparently Wang failed the game. And he's like, I don't know what I did wrong. But then he comes back to real life, goes to a center in the middle of the city where they're using satellites to study cosmic radiation from the Big Bang. And the universe is like flickering in Morse code. Is this the reason that the physicists were Xing themselves? Because they realized that the universe is talking? And so they're like, well, this is bigger than any of us can solve. Guess it's over. I'm like, what? What the fuck is going on? That's what happened. If you want me to explain it to you, I can't tell you why any of this happened, but I'm having a blast. It reads really fast because it's so ridiculous. So, like, I'm gonna finish it. That's not a worry. I just don't know if I can tell you what the fuck is happening. But okay, have fun. Bye. Okay, let's do an update as I walk to the dentist. I think I'm like 2/3 of the way through, if not like almost 3/4 of the way through. This is hilarious. This book is so funny. All right. It's so ridiculous and okay, I think I know what the three body is now. I had thought of it earlier as like being a binary star system, which is something that I was talking about in the Discord, but it's a 3-star system, and the planet is the reason that they're having such a hard time figuring out what the cycle is. Oh, by the way, I like found this at a free little library, so I just grabbed it. The reason they're having such a hard time understanding the cycles of the chaotic era and the stable era is because they thought it was the same sun, and at most 2 different suns, but it's actually 3. And so Wang kind of figures this out, and there's a secret organization that I'm still struggling to understand whether they want to destroy the Earth or save the Earth, because there's like multiple organizations. There's the environmentalist organization, and then there's the Adventists. If I'm understanding anything correctly, I think the Adventists are a Western group that is kind of working together with them, but I don't know if they're necessarily vying for power. And the whole issue is that nobody has any trust in the human race, and some people think that the aliens, the Trisolarans, I think they're calling them, from this planet that's a simulation but not actually a simulation in the game 3 body, are going to save humanity. But they, from the game, seem like the ones that need saving. So I'm a bit confused, because if the environmentalists made this game to try to figure out and solve a problem, and they've created this narrative that these people need help, but that they're somehow more advanced than them, where is this notion of that they're gonna come and be the next leaders of the human race because the human race sucks and can't solve any problems by itself? Like, where I don't see the connection there. But again, I'm just lost most of the time, because it's like extremely ridiculous the way that things are happening. It's comical. I'm having such a fun time. Okay, and then like so there's this one scene that had me cackling, because the main character Wang, he's like going, he got to the certain level in 3 body where he basically is told, hey, go to this like super secret meeting of the minds for 3 body at this cafe. So he gets there, and the person who might potentially be the villain of the story, I don't know, is there, and starts asking people all these questions, was basically kicked out of the meeting, and they were like, you're just not hardcore enough for this mission. And everyone just kind of shrugged and left. So like, I don't know why anybody hasn't gone public with this information, but also, is anyone even going to believe what they hear? Because the whole point of this is that nobody trusts anybody, and like, you know, propaganda. But if someone's not doing propaganda right enough, so everyone's questioning each other's motives, I don't know. And Wang is just kind of there like, I'm just gonna ride the wave until I figure out what the hell is going on. And Mans is just standing in the corner. But yeah, it's confusing as hell, ridiculous, and I feel like every time I figure out something literally on the next page, it becomes true. So it feels like I'm watching a K-drama. Like, the most dramatic thing that you can possibly think is gonna happen literally happens on the next page. So it's like, I saw that coming. It's stupid funny.
Hello, oh my gosh, I had so much fun with this. Can I tell you, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna give this like a 4.5. There were just a little bit of things that I wanted more of, but I cannot wait to read the second one, which I'm literally about to go birthday book shopping as soon as I'm done recording this. But I had a blast. To me, this was the most dramatic, most extra thing I've read in a long while, and I honestly can't even tell you if it's because the author inserted action and like ridiculousness in here to be like, let me just spice it up, because there is a lot of expose and a lot of monologue going on, scientific theory, big brain energy, that was like, wow, I'm trying to keep up and can't necessarily do that, but that's okay. Or if the editor at some point was just like, dude, you gotta tone it down. And he reluctantly did it. But I thought it was amazing. I thought it was so much fun. Okay, I'm gonna try my best to explain what happened here. These aliens think